You've probably been a little bit clickbaited by this video title because I'm gonna assume that you thought that I'm going to be going off on all the stupid Gen Z, Gen Alpha slang that they keep throwing around. What is a giyat and a riz and a labubu rave, right? And no, that's actually absolutely not what I'm gonna be focusing on today. Ultimately, I don't ever think that slang is a problem, especially this sort of generational slang. I'm sort of like an in-between between millennial and zoomer, because I was like born in Latvia. We get all our culture stuff later. I was born in the year 2000. It's not like millennials don't have their fair share of stupid cultural memes and slang. It's been like over a decade since Vine showed up and then died immediately. Doesn't stop everyone in my generation from using yeet in their day-to-day language. Could you yeet me my phone or something? Ultimately, I think a lot of these goofy little terms will fade away and we'll just be left with the good ones. You know, we kept yeet. I'm gonna assume that all this Gen Alpha slang and or Gen Z slang, we're gonna keep Riz. Riz is a good one. I enjoy it. It's like charisma and charm, but also not. It has its own unique uses. I like Riz, alright? I wouldn't expect like a Zoomer to understand all the dumb references that a millennial will make either. I don't even expect them to know what a yeet is. It's a two-way street. I got like no idea what an alpha kid is talking about when they're talking about their Chile Labubu raves. I genuinely can't even think of that many terms because I don't know them. But I also have no idea what the foxtrot really was. Was it a dance? Was it the one where they're like staring at each other and moving their shoulders around? I don't know, and I don't care, and neither should you unless you're part of that generation. That generation shouldn't give a damn about what we're on about when you're like, road work ahead. I sure hope it does, and certainly not when, a toddler's talking about sticking out their gat for the Rizzler. And I also understand, but don't really feel arguments when it comes to saying that the Gen Z and Alpha slang is just repurposing and appropriating African American vernacular English. The point and goal of AAVE isn't to be like some exclusive language. It's ultimately a means of communicating in a very efficient, slightly indirect manner to obfuscate some ideas, and also to just be like a very, again, efficient means of communication. So the fact that a bunch of children across the world are adopting those words, adopting those phrases, adopting those terms, that's just a really good sign for how effective and functional it is as an addition to language. And any arguments about cultural appropriation when it comes to these words, if you want kids to like not be racist, it's a pretty good point to be like, hey, you're literally using the language used by these people who are very different from you. Do you see how you're not actually that very different? And it's like, hey, good stuff. Walter, you've mentioned like 4 or 3 things that aren't the problem you're going to be talking about in this video, so what the hell are you going to be talking about? Oh, you do know there are timestamps on this video, right? Because, oh my god, I've noticed a pattern when it comes to the way these children talk to each other, and it's insane. Not you being unable to find the point of the video. Why is no one talking about this? Yeah, my main problem with the way younger generations have been communicating with each other online and out of it isn't to do with the words or the phrases they use most of the time. It's the fact that it seems that these younger generations cannot communicate meaningful ideas to each other without being smug cunts about them. You see, the slang itself isn't a problem, but the fact is, I've worked as a teacher. I am currently employed somewhere where there's, again, a lot of young people, a lot of kids, teenagers, And obviously they take the slang and everything and terminology they use online, and they use it in the real world as well, much like I did when I was that age. And that alone isn't a problem, but they're taking along with those words and phrases the attitude they express on the internet and applying it to the real world, and ultimately them applying it on the internet is already a problem, considering how much of their time they spend there, how much of the exchange of ideas and opinions happens on the internet. It is like the public square, and so it's kind of a problem when these younger people are unable to express their opinions to each other without kind of sounding like smug assholes. And while their peers generally will understand each other and understand that this is just a means of communicating with each other, when you start to see them speak, with their teachers, with older kids, with adults, with anyone outside of this online in-group, the result is that their ideas, even if they're perfectly sound, perfectly valid, and they're expressing something that could very well be entirely true, they get dismissed because no one wants to deal with what they're saying in the way that they're saying it. There are just sort of like a plethora of examples that have happened in like the past 2 months that I've noticed just browsing internet that like irritated me to no end, and I wanted to talk about them because I feel like there is kind of a broader problem like showing itself here. Starting with like a fairly recent example, and an example that ultimately doesn't matter that much, and also an example of probably like 90% sure this is like a millennial writing this. It's genuinely an issue that's probably started with millennials. The topic here, quite simply, is this post on OK Buddy Cinephile about Cillian Murphy reportedly smoking over 3,000 cigarettes per season while filming Peaky Blinders. Someone made a joke, favorite actor with lung cancer, we're having a good laugh. And then someone leaves a comment that says, you guys realize that in addition to being herbal, the actors are also not inhaling, right? Well, one of two things is true. Either we do not have this information, because why the hell would we have this information on a day-to-day basis? I've never been on the film set of fucking Peaky Blinders myself, so I wouldn't know. Meanwhile, if I did know that, then obviously it would just be a means of making a joke about the fact they're still smoking 3,000 cigarettes. There were like a million ways to post, and inform people about this fact, such as simply stating they were actually smoking herbal cigarettes and not inhaling. Guess what? Like half the comment section was basically saying that, but this person decided to make this point in the worst, most asshole-ish way possible. Now, so far, that's kind of a good sign in the sense that, again, most people were just sharing this information, sharing these little neat tidbits normally, instead of being condescending pricks about it. But the next example I found and ran into instead of just like looking for it, is a bit more sad. This is from the cesspool that is Twitter, and it's someone saying, "Can y'all stop using grok? It's literally poisoning a black community in Tennessee." And someone else responds with, "Add grok, name every product for sale on Amazon." And this was posted to r/people who give a shit, which is honestly like a terrible subreddit at this point. It's just people posting anyone with even a modicum of conviction and being like, "Look at this prick. Look at this asshole. He has an opinion." Well, there was a reply in this thread, like way down there, that said, "Hey, this person's actually entirely correct. There is in fact a plant run by Twitter in Tennessee next to a marginalized black neighborhood, and they are allegedly using like methods which pump crazy amounts of polluted air into the atmosphere, pollutants and gases, And so basically the initial message of this, if this post is correct, it's true. They haven't given any source. They're just making this claim, which, again, without a source, you just look at and you go, sure, buddy, I'm sure Grok is, like, killing people, like, going into their homes and, like poisoning the water supply or something. And I mean, it kind of is. It's just so ridiculous that, of course, your initial reaction is to say that's not true and to mock it, which could be very easily resolved with this person citing their source instead of just having read or heard somewhere in some random corner of the internet, probably TikTok or another tweet that they decided not to retweet instead of just writing this message out, and just gone with this. And you see this kind of thing a lot on TikTok specifically, as well as other short-form content on the internet, and I think the short-form content is the biggest culprit in what's causing this sort of breakdown of normal human communication, where there is a need, not a need to provide actual factual information and back it up with your sources and make your, verifiable claims. The important part instead is that you have a hook in, like, the first couple of words of your sentence, that you have a hook in the first couple of seconds of a video, which then tells people, like, oh, this is the wildest shit I've ever seen. Watch the next minutes and give me ad revenue to find out what I'm talking about. And I think the consequences of that are going to only get worse and more apparent over time. I mean, ultimately, there are a lot of things to respect about Gen Alpha, Gen Z. Compared to older generations, they are a lot more politically involved, they are a lot more opinionated. It's just that when they present their information like this, when they present their opinions like this, going like, why isn't nobody talking about this, as they're talking about something that they probably know about because, like, someone else told them about it. The result is that a lot of serious issues are not taken seriously. They're not considered as valid concerns because the people that are talking about them come across kind of like idiots. Even if they are genuinely, in some capacity, knowledgeable on the issues, they do not know how to express that. They do not know how to deliver that information effectively. And then it's an unfortunate side effect of overconsumption of social media. To them, it's enough that someone on TikTok has said in a couple of sentences that Grok bad, Grok kill black people. And they just continue to say that instead of providing information that would possibly convince more people and possibly have some kind of meaningful effect on the matter. That said, I do have some hope in that. I think a majority of cases, these people are so young, these are teenagers, these are children, that kinda don't fully understand communication in the first place. Obviously, like, edgy, moody teenagers have been not the greatest at delivering meaningful information without rolling their eyes and scoffing a lot. It's just unfortunate that I've seen this sort of attitude and sort of speech pattern come up from adults. A lot. And I don't know, I just hope to get at least one person out there to sort of maybe reevaluate the way you speak, the way you present information. If your intention is to do more than just to annoy someone, but to possibly convince someone of a righteous opinion, or attract more people to your ideals and to your movement, this is not the way to do it. That's gonna do it for today's video, so I'll see you in the next one, which should be a little more high effort.